The following is a presentation of RMG Sports, award-winning championship television.
Race fans, it's time for Chase to the Checkered. If you love the fender-beaten action of motorsports, then you'll flip over this week's show. With 8 feature races, there was sure to be some excitement. So get the gang together. Let's pick up the pace and get my insurance agent on the phone. Chase to the Checkered starts now.
Hi folks, I'm Dale Miles. I'm from Lake Milton, Ohio, and race fans, start your engines.
Race fans, welcome back to Chase to the Checkered. This week, we start C2C off with the first of 2 races featuring the Super Mini Cup cars. A huge crowd showed up for a great night of racing. Number 34, Ken Stabley Jr. started on the pole and took off with the early lead. But by lap 3, number 4, Matt Wallace, had worked his way through the pack and was challenging Stabley for first. He shot low and got out front. As we neared the halfway point, Stabley used the same maneuver and got by Wallace for the lead. With 3 laps to go, Wallace and Stabley were again battling for the lead as they approached lap traffic. Stabley went high, but Wallace stayed low and shot out for first. New Market, Maryland's Matt Wallace rode off into the sunset and went on to win the first 25-lap Super Mini Cup feature.
The load line's generally faster around this track, so you got 3 cars in front of you. The only choice I could make was go to the bottom when Ken went to the top. So it panned out the way it did, but the second race we're going to have is going to be a good one too, so we'll see what happens.
Wallace was followed by Ken Stabley Jr., Kevin Moore, David Smith, and Brian Donati in the top 5. There's still one more Super Mini Cup feature. That's coming up later. Next up on C2C, the 96.5 Mountain Chargers. Number 97, Justin Lasky, shot out to an early lead. But number 55, Curtis Stewart Jr. was working his way through the pack. By lap 9, Stewart got by the number 27 car of Greg Praisner for second. Lasky had built a nice lead over the pack, but it wasn't big enough to keep the 55 away. With 4 laps to go, Stewart went low on the front stretch and was in first. Lasky wasn't going to give up easily. On lap 12, he tried a little too hard and spun coming out of turn 4, making contact with the inside retaining wall. Lasky had some nice body damage to his front end. On the restart, Greg Praisner put up a valiant effort. But Stewart was just too strong, and Curtis Stewart Jr. won the 96.5 Mountain Charger feature.
My car likes to work better on the outside, at least I thought. I prefer the outside. I just feel more comfortable. It doesn't seem to work as well for me on the bottom. Well, with these street tires, it doesn't like to stay where you want it all the time. It wants to lose a little bit of grip at times, but my hat's off to Greg. I'd race beside him any day.
This was Stewart's 9th victory of the year at Jennerstown. He was followed by Greg Praisner, Travis Smith, Chuck Slate, and Phil Grubbs in the top 5. The spin sent Justin Lasky to the back, where he moved up to the 7th finishing position. In the points, Stewart continues his domination of the division. He is now almost 70 points away from the second place Phil Grubbs. Travis Smith, Chuck Slate, and Justin Lasky are the top 5 in points. Michael Gillett, Bobby Fischer, Greg Praisner, and Michael Stevens round out the top 10 in the 96.5 Mountain Chargers. Coming up on Chase to the Checkered, we still have 5 more feature races to cover, including the Cover Insurance Agency PA Legacies. And speaking of the Legacies, in 2 weeks, some of the best Allison Legacy drivers will converge on Jennerstown Speedway. August 31st is the date for the Pennsylvania Legacy Blue-Gray Shootout, presented by Cover Insurance. So here's this week's Track Twister. Which driver won the 2001 Blue-Gray Shootout? Was it Joey Denowitz, Jamie Bolkovac, Chad McCumbee, or Mark Bogue? We'll have the answer coming up on Chase to the Checkered. We'll be right back. Race fans, welcome back to Chase to the Checkered. We keep C2C rolling with the highlights from the Cover Insurance PA Legacy Division. As the Brooks Automotive Group pace car slipped into the pits, the pole sitter, number 55, Dave Campbell, took the lead. By the third lap, number 13, Chris Brink, used the low groove and got by 55 for the lead. Number 29, Joey Denowitz, helped the 13 car with a little push. A lap later, Brink got a little loose in turn 2. Denowitz took advantage and rode the high line around and took the lead in turn 3. As we approach the halfway point, last week's winner, number 4, Brett Boyer, was door-to-door with and then passed number 13, Chris Brink, for second. On lap 12, number 17, Dave Holder, tried to go low, but spun in turn 4. He wisely holds the car steady, while the pack safely passes by. After the restart, Boyer and Denowitz rode side by side until number 70, PJ Ehrlich, came along. He rode Denowitz's coattails, and the two sent the number 4 to third. With no traffic and clean air, the number 29 was able to take off with a huge lead. As we came to lap 21, number 13, Chris Brink, moved past number 4, Brett Boyer, for the second place position. But 2 laps later, all leads would disappear under caution. Number 9, Brad Grace, and number 0, Kep Causer, were pointing the wrong way in turns 3 and 4. On the single file restart, Denowitz shot out with the lead, and he would go on to win the Cover Insurance Agency PA Legacy Division feature.
This is the product of a bunch of guys that are determined to get to victory lane week in and week out. When you put people together that are determined to make a car go into victory lane, this is what happens. These Owens Corning Eagle Motorsports guys are awesome.
Denowitz was followed by PJ Ehrlich, Brett Boyer, Dave Campbell, and Eric Kulikowski in the top 5 finishers in the feature. The win, his 9th of the 2002 season, enables Denowitz to maintain his huge lead in the Cover Insurance Agency PA Legacy Division point standings. He's followed by Brett Boyer, Chris Brink, Kyle Martell, and Dave Campbell in the top 5. Brad Grace, PJ Ehrlich, Bill Miller, Eric Kulikowski, and Kep Causer round out the top 10 in points. Now, the action from the Tommy Gale Hallmark Trailers Pro Trucks. On the first lap, number 15, Barry Geary, was in the lead. As the pack came into turn 3, number 16, Eugene Ciferno, made contact with number 97, Jason Lasky. A lap later, number 0, Dave Brunel, got by Ciferno on the backstretch for second. 4 laps in, Brunel passed Geary and had the lead. As the laps ticked away, Brunel extended his lead while the pack lined up behind him. On lap 10, number 98 Todd Price and number 8 Marion Reno Jr. slid below Geary and sent him to 4th position. 2 laps later, Reno made a strong run, but Price held on and the number 8 slowed. As the final lap approached, Brunel had built an enormous lead, but number 86 Terry Price spun in turn 2, bunching the pack back up and allowing brother Todd to line up right behind Brunel for the restart. On the restart, Price bumped Brunel out of the way and brought Reno around the number 0. But number 97 Jason Lasky and number 11 Michael Dixon were together in turn 2. This meant that the lap did not count. They would line back up, with Brunel back out in front for the green-white checkered restart. Price would try the high side, but Brunel would hold strong. Reno almost lost it in turn 4, but managed to keep it together. The number 0 held the throttle and the line, and Dave Brunel won the Tommy Gale Hallmark Trailers Pro Truck feature.
The crew and everything, they've done such a fantastic job this year. We were always just like this far off up here. And, you know, we've had some help with the chassis and, you know, got some pointers and, you know, just worked and changed and changed. I always jacked the crew because I said, man, you never leave anything the same 1 or 2 weeks in a row. We want to dedicate this one to Neil Black tonight. He was a driving force in those boys and got him into racing in the first place. So we're going to miss Neil, but I think he was watching down on us tonight, especially the way that last restart went.
This was Brunel's second feature win of 2002. The Greensburg driver was followed by Todd Price, Marion Reno Jr., Dave Marrow, and Josh Kokenauer in the top 5 finishers. In the points, Todd Price is slowly catching up to the leader, Marion Reno Jr. Reno now leads by just 12 points. The top 5 consists of Josh Kokenauer, Dave Brunel, and Dave Marrow, Jason Lasky, Dave Manns, Joe Kelly, Aaron Will, and Terry Price round out the top 10 in points in the Tommy Gale Hallmark Trailers Pro Truck Division. Now, the second Super Mini Cup Car feature. At the drop of the green, the field easily went 4 wide into turns 1 and 2. And then again in turns 3 and 4. Number 7, David Smith emerged with the lead, but number 4, Matt Wallace, shot by and took it seconds later. By lap 6, number 34, Ken Stabley Jr. came under and passed Wallace in turn 2. Wallace returned the favor in turn 3, retaking the lead in the same lap. How often do you see that? Stabley would retake the lead on the following lap and hold on to it. On the final lap, Wallace made one more shot, but Ken Stabley Jr. won the second Super Mini Cup feature of the evening.
I'll tell you what, I'm really looking forward to meeting Matt Wallace up here every time he comes. The guy just really runs my tail around the track. And then he gets out in front of me, and I don't even know if I'm going to have enough to get by him. But he does a heck of a job. And it's a real battle, I mean, just to stay behind a guy like that, because the whole back end of the car will just be bouncing all over the track.
Ken Stabley Jr. and Matt Wallace were followed by Kevin Moore, David Smith, and Mike Walker in the top 5 finishers. Do you have an answer for this week's Track Twister? Here it is again. The 2002 PA Legacy Division's Blue-Gray Shootout is coming up on August 31st at Jennerstown Speedway. Which driver won the 2001 Blue-Gray Shootout? Was it Joey Denowitz, Jamie Bolkovac, Chad McCumbee, or Mark Bogue? We'll have the answer coming up on Chase to the Checkered. Race fans, welcome back to Chase to the Checkered. Now, the answer to this week's Track Twister. Which driver won the Pennsylvania Legacy Series 2001 Blue-Gray Shootout? Was it Joey Denowitz, Jamie Bolkovac, Chad McCumbee, or Mark Bogue? The South won the battle last year as Supply North Carolina's Chad McCumbee won the Twin 25-lap feature in 2001. So be sure to get to Jennerstown Speedway on August 31st and root our local PA Legacy drivers on as they battle the South in the 2002 PA Legacy Blue-Gray Shootout.
When the Southern guys do come up, it puts our Northern boys on their toes. It's a bragging rights type deal where the South has been kicking the Northern butt. But this year we got a really good chance with Joey Denowitz, with our points leader and rookie of last year, to come up here and take that title back to the North.
Now, C2C continues with the highlights from the Sen West Street Stocks. As the first lap concludes, number 70, Todd Knight, got by number 25, David Tavermina, for the lead. By the fourth lap, number 0, Dink Colarusso, slid underneath of number 14, Adam Kostelnik, to take the third place position. After riding number 35, Bill Ashton's bumper, for 4 laps, Colarusso passed him for the second place spot. As the race approached the halfway point, Knight held a huge lead, but the number 0 was coming on strong, and there were plenty of laps left. As the race came to lap 21, Dink Colarusso had caught up to Knight. In turn 4, Knight gets just a hair loose, and the number 0 capitalizes. The two would ride door to door for a lap, but lap traffic would help Colarusso pull ahead. Knight would try his best, but the race belonged to the number 0. Dink Colarusso won the Sen West Street Stock feature.
It looked like he might have been getting a little loose there towards the end when I was gaining on him. But like I said earlier, Todd usually doesn't make mistakes like that. He's tough to catch when he's up front.
Colarusso was followed by Todd Knight, Bill Ashton, George Nicola Jr., and Adam Kostelnik in the top 5 finishers in the feature race. George Nicola Jr. continues to lead in the points, but the win helped Dink Colarusso pull to within 18 points of the leader. Adam Kostelnik, Johnny Jones, and Roger Onstead make up the top 5. David Tavermina, Jason Holder, Bill Ashton, Richard Nicola, and June Wyant round out the top 10 in the Sen West Street Stocks points. The Ladies Enduro feature saw number 24, Chantal Gurman, revisit victory lane. But all eyes were on the 4th place finisher, Carolyn Seneca, as she came across the line in dramatic fashion after making contact with number 73, Sherry Berkey. Seneca was okay. Here's your winner.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. I just learned how to drive a stick about 12 hours ago, and my other car died on me last week, so I had to end up in this car. But it was pretty interesting because I just floored it, and I just went through everybody. It was pretty fun.
Now, the highlights from the Wheeler Brothers AC Delco late models. Number 38, Brad Creighton, would drive strong, but number 94, Mark Smith, got alongside and by the 38 for the lead in lap 3. Points leader Neil Brown squeaked by for second later in the lap. Number 75, Barry Audi, followed to take the 3rd spot from Creighton. Just like last week, Mark Smith took the R&M Trucking Taurus out to a huge lead over the field. We jump ahead to a battle for second that lasted 2/3 of the race. On lap 36, number 75, Barry Audi, got by number 98, Neil Brown, for the 2nd place spot. Despite losing his power steering, Mark Smith had amassed a tremendous lead, and the 94 rode across the finish line with lap traffic to win the feature.
It seemed like I was all over the track. When the power steering left go, I didn't know where Neil was at, and I've been having problems with the last couple of days with my wrist, and I think it just broke. I don't know. I couldn't hardly turn the wheel about the last 15 laps.
In his 4th win of 2002 at Jennerstown Speedway, Mark Smith was followed by Barry Audi, Neil Brown, Brad Creighton, and Mark Catone in the top 5 finishers in the Wheeler Brothers AC Delco late model feature. Neil Brown continues to lead in the standings, but Barry Audi is just 26 points behind him in second. They are followed by Mark Smith, Mark Catone, and Bobby Henry in the top 5. Brad Creighton, Snooky Williams, Jamie Bolkovac, Kerry Tadero, and Mel Wilt round out the top 10 in points in the Wheeler Brothers AC Delco late model division. Coming up next weekend at Jennerstown Speedway, Stan's Transmission Service presents 5 division racing with twin 50-lap late model features and 25 laps of the Grand American Modifieds. And don't forget about the PA Legacy Series Blue-Gray Shootout. Admission for all this racing is just $15. Kids 12 and under get in for free. I'm Bubba Connor from 96.5 The Mountain. Tune in to Chase to the Checkered next week for all the excitement. We'll see you then.